The National Desk, America's News, now.
A tornado watch is on for millions of Americans. Just who might be in the path of destruction?
In 1940, we came up with a 40-hour work week. 1940. Who is going to deny that the economy has not fundamentally and radically changed over that period of time?
Could a 4-day work week become the law of the land? The reasons behind Bernie's push for less work, same pay. And calls for TikTok to divest or get dumped as American lawmakers mull over a bill to force TikTok to sell. Just ahead, the former Trump official who says he'll try to buy the social media app. Right now, more than 17 million people are under tornado watches stretching from Ohio all the way down to Texas. Tornadoes and giant hail are especially likely in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. Severe thunderstorms are forecast in the Central Plains today, and that risk, it will extend through the south to Texas and Louisiana by Saturday. Colorado continues to get hit with heavy snow meantime, causing dangerous travel conditions there. Boulder and Denver could see 2 feet of snow, and other areas could see even more. The snow will shift into the mountains of the Four Corners region by tomorrow.
Right now in our country, we are facing a very serious health crisis. And the crisis is affecting many, many people in our country.
Vice President Kamala Harris speaking today at an abortion clinic near Minneapolis, Minnesota. Harris's office says it was the first time the president or vice president has been to a reproductive health clinic. The visit spotlighted the role Harris will play in the administration's push on preserving reproductive rights in the wake of the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. Democrats hope abortion rights will play to their advantage this year, as it did in the 2022 midterm elections. Tonight, new elections in Israel being called for by one of Washington's top Democrats. In a scathing speech today, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Israel and its right-leaning government risked becoming an international pariah with Netanyahu at the helm.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has lost his way by allowing his political survival to take the precedence over the best interests of Israel. At this critical juncture, I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel.
The call marks the clearest signal yet that frustrations over Netanyahu's handling of the war are boiling over, particularly as the civilian death toll in Gaza rises and Netanyahu shows little willingness to engage in talks for a two-state solution. Schumer today acknowledged Israel was not entirely to blame, criticizing Hamas for, quote, using civilians as human shields, but the criticism not enough to stave off backlash from Senator Mitch McConnell.
The call for the removal of the democratically elected leader of Israel. This is unprecedented. We should not treat fellow democracies this way at all. The Democratic Party doesn't have an anti-Bibi problem. It has an anti-Israel problem.
Despite a shift in tone, Democrats have continued to support Israel militarily and financially. All but 3 members of the Democratic caucus voted last month to send billions of dollars in additional aid to the nation. Today, both the White House and the State Department refrained from echoing Schumer's remarks.
I'm sure that they fully understand that he speaks for himself. He's obviously someone we're in close contact with, but it's not a statement from the executive branch.
President Biden continues to grapple with anger and concern over the Israel-Hamas war. As we learned, senior White House officials were set to meet today with Muslim and Arab community leaders in Chicago. But it's not just criticism he's fielding from key parts of his voting bloc here at home. It's also from American voices in Gaza. CNN spoke with one American woman living there who almost did not survive when she says a strike left her crushed in the ruins of her central Gaza home. She was rescued, then treated without anesthesia. Now she says she needs answers.
I'm not throwing bombs. I'm not shooting anyone. Why did they come and target me? I need an answer for that. Joe Biden, I need an answer. Why are you letting them target Americans in Gaza?
And motion denied. Judge Eileen Cannon took just a few hours to rule against former President Trump's motion to dismiss the classified documents case on unconstitutional vagueness. Trump was in court today to dismiss the charges against him, his defense team pointing to previous presidents who kept documents after their terms for autobiographies or as mementos. The prosecution said documents found at Mar-a-Lago were nowhere near personal. Other motions to dismiss by Trump's team are still pending. Meantime, Trump buying more time in his hush money case. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg says his office is willing to delay the trial up to 30 days so he can review records that were just handed over. The trial was set for March 25th. Trump's lawyers are trying to get either a 90-day delay or an all-out dismissal. The judge has yet to rule on the request. Jury deliberations in the involuntary manslaughter trial of James Crumbley continued today. The jury met for about an hour last night before breaking. Crumbley is charged with 4 counts of manslaughter and faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted. His wife, Jennifer Crumbley, has already been found guilty of being directly responsible for the actions of her son, Ethan, when he shot and killed 4 students and wounded 6 others in November of 2021. Ethan Crumbley is serving a life sentence. Katrina Bauer, the mother of missing 3-year-old Elijah View, was back in court today as she waived her right for a preliminary hearing in the felony charges of child neglect against her. Bauer also faces child neglect charges related to her 6-year-old daughter. Bauer's boyfriend and caretaker of her children, Jesse Vang, also charged with felony child neglect, had his hearing postponed to next Thursday because he has not secured a lawyer. Elijah's status remains unknown this evening, and the search for him is in its 3rd week. The reward for information about his whereabouts is up to $40,000. A large fire is burning at a quarry in Maryland, northwest of Washington, D.C. Several oil tanks are on fire, causing a heavy smoke plume that is visible for miles. 75 firefighters right now working to put out the flames that began at 11:30 this morning. Not immediately clear what caused the fire. Officials say there's no danger to the immediate area, but nearby residents were told to limit their outdoor time. President Biden continues his re-election tour today, campaigning in Michigan, his 2nd time there in just 6 weeks. Last month, during the Democratic presidential primary, an uncommitted movement prompted by activists who want a ceasefire in Gaza received 13% of the vote, putting Biden in a challenging position there. But his presence there is also meant to help him connect with other key constituencies, including union-affiliated and minority voters. It comes as new data emerges showing Democrats are losing ground with Black and Latino voters. National correspondent Janae Bowens has an in-depth look.
For years, Black and Latino voters largely identified as Democrats, but that's starting to change.
I think this shift has been in progress for quite some time.
I think apathy is happening.
According to Gallup, in 2020, Black Americans were 66 points more likely to identify as Democrats than Republicans. In 2023, that number went down to 47. And 4 years ago, Hispanic voters were 28 points more likely to call themselves Democrats. Last year, that number dropped to 12.
I think Hispanics and even the African American community are asking, why aren't we getting financial support for legal residents?
Roy Morales says this shift away from Democrats is because some in these communities feel they're being left out with the migrant crisis, especially in big cities like Chicago, where frustrations are reaching a boiling point.
We're going to get our city back. We're going to stand for our people. We're going to get them out of our communities because they don't deserve to be there.
Dante King says not all Black voters connect with the civil rights movement, which is often used when courting them. He thinks more Black celebrities embracing former President Donald Trump is a factor, too.
His alliance with Kanye West, even Lil Wayne saying that he was a supporter of Donald Trump. And many of these people have lots of followers.
Last month's Time Siena poll found 23% of Black voters say they support Trump. In 2020, he received 12% of the Black vote, according to exit polls. The Times poll also showed Trump leading President Joe Biden by 6 points among Hispanic voters. In 2020, Biden won Hispanic voters by 33 points.
Now, Amira, the former president seized the opportunity here, and he's courting both Black and Latino voters. Biden is doing the same, but I spoke to many Democrats, and they seem to be skeptical of these polls and think Biden is going to win big with both groups.
Very interesting, Janae. And how is each party courting these voters? Because both sides need them in the coming election.
Exactly. So Biden will have a fundraiser with former presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton and Lin-Manuel Miranda are hosting a fundraiser for Biden too. And Trump is visiting key battleground states like Nevada and doing his best to specifically appeal to working class Latinos. And the campaign has also bought radio ads targeted at Black voters. Now both candidates have 235 days to make their case. Amira.
All right, Janae, thank you as always live in Washington, D.C. We appreciate it. SpaceX's third Starship rocket launch is being called a huge success, hitting multiple goals. The rocket hit orbital speeds and flew further than either of the first 2 attempts. Starship's payload doors were also tested, although it's too soon to say that was totally successful yet. Though expected, the company did lose contact with the Starship on its descent and did not record its splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Coming up, as security concerns about TikTok grow, a former Trump administration official is considering buying the app. What he said today about why he's interested. Then why Best Buy is recalling hundreds of thousands of air fryers. And later, lawmakers in Maine are considering new gun control legislation, what it would do and how advocates say it will help. We'll be right back. A proposal to install a new leader in Haiti may be in jeopardy. The Associated Press reporting some political leaders have publicly rejected the plan to create a presidential transitional council. And now there are rising concerns that growing unrest in Haiti could add to the struggles at our own borders. Here's national correspondent Christine Frizzell.
On the ground in Haiti, the gangs remain in charge. The unrest on the streets there bringing new fears here of a mass migration event.
As a Florida man, I'm deeply concerned about this wave of people that we're about to have, that we are having, coming from Haiti, and it will accelerate.
We are ready if we need to deal with a mass migration. We did a full walkthrough of our contingency plan on Gitmo last summer.
Gitmo, or Guantanamo Bay, is just about 200 miles from Haiti, and also part of a new plan by the Biden administration to process Haitian migrants should there be a mass exodus, which so far there is no evidence of. But in 2021, following the assassination of Haiti's president, about 15,000 migrants fled to the southern border, setting up camp for days in Del Rio, Texas. Border security since that time becoming an even greater issue, with record numbers of migrants coming to the United States from all across the globe.
Good morning.
Now, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has directed emergency services to deploy more than 250 officers and soldiers and more than a dozen air and sea craft to the southern coast of Florida, with law enforcement in his state expressing concerns.
We're very vulnerable here on the Treasure Coast. We don't have enough federal resources on the water. They do the best they can. We know from experience they will run, they will hide, and we will have a complex law enforcement issue.
Especially since it's turtle nesting season, which means people who live along the beach are asked to keep the lights turned off. The latest estimates show more than 350,000 people have been internally displaced in Haiti, with authorities at the border it shares with the Dominican Republic reportedly sending back hundreds of undocumented Haitians every day, a signal that they will not be welcomed no matter how much the situation deteriorates. I'm Christine Frizzell for the National Desk.
If ByteDance opens up bids on TikTok, who would buy it? Well, we know of at least one guy that's interested.
Understand the technology. It's a great business, and I'm going to put together a group to buy TikTok.
You're trying to buy TikTok?
I am, because this should be owned by U.S. businesses. There's no way that the Chinese would ever let a U.S. company own something like this in China.
That is Steve Mnuchin, the former Treasury Secretary in the Trump administration. He currently leads a private equity firm. Mnuchin did not name anyone that he's currently working with to buy the app, but says he'd give existing U.S. investors the option to roll over their stakes. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders held a hearing today to support his new legislation to shorten the work week from 40 hours down to 32 hours with no loss in pay. Sanders argues that the change would reduce stress for workers and improve quality of life. He cites federal data showing productivity outpacing wage growth in recent decades.
And I know what people and many in this room will say. They'll say people just don't want to work, or working class people are lazy. But the truth is, working class people aren't lazy. They're fed up. They're fed up with being left behind and stripped of dignity as wealth inequality in this nation, this world spirals out of control.
Of course, that initiative getting support from UAW President Shawn Fain. California Congressman Mark Takano is unveiling companion legislation in the House, but last year's attempt never made it out of committee, and his efforts in 2021 met a similar fate. Wholesale prices were up again last month in a new government report suggesting that inflation might persist for longer than the Fed would like. The producer price index increased 0.6% from January to February, up from a 0.3% increase a month earlier. Gas and grocery prices, those were a big factor. And retail sales bounced back in February following the post-holiday slump. The Commerce Department says sales rose 0.6% from the month before. Gas prices and car sales were major contributors there. Best Buy is recalling more than 287,000 air fryers and air fryer ovens in the U.S. and Canada. The recall says the fryers can overheat, causing the handles to melt or break, and poses fire and burn hazards. Best Buy has received at least 24 reports of overheating and melting, shattering glass, including at least 6 complaints of the fryers catching fire, but no injuries or property damage has been reported. And certain cashews sold at Walmart are being recalled because of a risk for life-threatening allergic reactions. Some 8¼ ounce cans of Great Value honey roasted cashews contain undeclared coconut and milk products. The FDA says you can throw them out or return them for a full refund. Skin Cancer Awareness Month is in May, so a proper sun safety patch design contest is underway right now. This is leading a national organization to stop skin cancer by seeking help directly from the Girl Scouts. Medical reporter Liz Bonas shares why they particularly need those who have a sunny disposition.
Hey there, everybody. The organization Melanoma No More works to reduce the impact of skin cancer through awareness, education, research. Recently, they launched a contest to help us all learn more about prevention, and it has led to quite the competition.
I'm probably going to do like the stuff that you need for it, like sunscreen and like glasses, umbrella.
It's called the Sun Safety Patch Design Contest. Already, those at the Brownie level of the Girl Scouts of Kentucky's Wilderness Road have signed up for the challenge.
We're all making patches to help prevent sunburn and sun cancer.
What they've learned about sun protection might already save their lives.
I think I'm going to do a sun with sunglasses on, putting sunscreen on.
But it could also help them leave a lasting sun protection impact for the rest of their lives.
So the girls here today are designing a badge. They'll submit them by March 22nd, and we'll select a badge and make it and have it available to Girl Scouts worldwide.
Patches are supplementary opportunities where we can partner with fantastic organizations like Melanoma No More to learn things outside of our Girl Scout badge curriculum.
The hope is that what these girls learn goes beyond the potential sun patch protection.
Because we want to create good habits. Like a bad sunburn in your youth can increase your chances 50% of getting of getting skin cancer. So starting a good habit early is just a good payoff all the way around.
We'll let you know who wins this competition. Other troops and Girl Scouts also welcome. We have details online. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
All right, Liz, thank you. And coming up, Seattle seems to be making progress on the homelessness crisis, but a new report shows some mixed results. We'll be right back. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering the issues that matter most to you. We're taking the pulse of America. California Congressman Doug LaMalfa was one of many representatives who voted in favor of the bill to separate TikTok from its parent company or ban it in the U.S. We spoke with an attorney who is helping a Chico mother sue TikTok.
China has access to all of the information that TikTok has been collecting illegally, allegedly collecting illegally on Americans. And that's a national security risk. You have this company that's under basically the authority of the Chinese government that has influence over America's youth.
If the bill becomes law and ByteDance sells TikTok within 6 months, there would be no restrictions on the platform and it will continue to operate in the U.S.
The level of gun violence in this country and this state is unacceptable.
Carol Ford is with the group Moms Demand Action. She comes from a hunting family and is in support of the Second Amendment, but says gun reform and mental health needs more attention in Maine. The 4 bills discussed by lawmakers on Wednesday focus on the state's mental health system, tightening up the yellow flag law, requiring a waiting period to purchase certain firearms, and an act to support suicide prevention by allowing the voluntary waiver of firearm rights. Clinical Director for Advocacy and Crisis Intervention, Hannah Longley, says these bills could help save lives.
If you look near Seattle's Leary Way, the optics are different. The
area, a haven for dilapidated RVs and criminal activity just 6 months ago, has been cleared. Shelter offers are up, according to Deputy Mayor Tiffany Washington.
I don't know if we need more shelter. I don't know if the resolve happens, if the system is working the way it's supposed to.
Washington claims new internal data shows the city's tent and RV counts are down over a year ago. Shots fired calls and physical fires at encampment sites too. Yet, she cautioned the council.
We did see a 7% increase with medical response calls, which we attribute to the fentanyl crisis.
Coming up, Pittsburgh Penguin fans were promised Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads at tonight's game, but they went missing. So what happened to them? We're going to tell you on the other side. Bobblehead giveaways are often a big draw at sporting events, which is why thousands of unlucky Pittsburgh Penguin fans will be disappointed tonight when they don't receive the promised Jaromir Jagr bobblehead that everybody's been expecting. The team announced the shipment of the souvenirs went missing when they were stolen in California. Fans who attend tonight's game will instead receive a voucher that they can use to pick up their bobblehead once available. Jagr will still be at tonight's game. That's the silver lining. The second all-time NHL scorer, played 11 seasons with the Penguins and won not one but 2 Stanley Cups. The Penguins retired his jersey just this past February. And today is National Pi Day. March 14th, or 314, represents the first 3 digits of a circle's circumference. Math enthusiasts and scientists are celebrating the infinite number, while many will mark the day with a piece of pizza or a pie. Fun fact, Pi Day actually dates back to 1988, but Congress designated the day in 2009, hoping to spark more interest in math and science. That does it for this edition of the National Desk. I'm Amira David. Thank you so much for watching.